And speaking of a friend in our spaces, we would like to invite Tamillia, who is a school board member in the Washington Elementary School Board District. They are really, really awesome. And I am so grateful for school board members like Tamillia who stand up for our students and for equity that we desperately need in our schools. So, hi, good to see you.
Hi. I feel so honored to be in this space with y'all. First and foremost, I want to acknowledge the stories that were shared prior to me coming on. I feel the pain. I feel the hurt. I feel the lack of resources that are made available to our youth. And as an adult, that is one of the most heartbreaking things to hear, is that we hold our students to a much higher threshold than we hold ourselves as adults. So I want to acknowledge all of the people that spoke before, because I'm sorry. And I'm so sorry that so many adults have failed you and have not created environments to where you can thrive. So I want to first and foremost acknowledge that. As the amazing students have stated, I am a board member in the Washington Elementary School District. It is located in Phoenix and Glendale. It is the largest K-8 here in Arizona. And part of the responsibilities of a school board member is to help create a culture that makes it to where our students can thrive. And one of the reasons that I did run for school board is I wanted to create the spaces that I needed when I was a student. Especially with the knowledge that I have now, we need to recognize the humanity in our youth. We need to cultivate their leadership now and not just for tomorrow, because they're humans today. And if we continue to help them thrive and create environments where they can thrive, then they're going to be able to live as adults in their fullness, in their full humanity. And I think that's really important for us to do as adults that are in these spaces, is to hold space for our young people. So that's a little bit about me. And yeah, so
Thank you so much. And yeah, I just want to reiterate that, like, holding space, holding a safe space for everyone, no matter who you are, and no matter if the school says you could have special privileges or not, whatever their word is, everyone deserves a space. Everyone deserves a friend, and that friend needs to be the adults in the room, and that is staff and teachers. I wanted to ask you, and we wanted to ask you a couple questions, if that's okay.
Yeah. And actually, like, quick add on, like a quick plug for ACLU/creative interventions. I think we did a talk on power with or power over. And I think that a lot of our conventional school systems are built on power over. How can the administration control students so that they behave in the way that they want them to behave? And we know that empirically that doesn't work. So I love that we're emphasizing power with, which like emphasizes community and the unique needs of all of our students. So just like on that note, what do you think that some of the solutions should be?
well, I think as an adult, I think this would be a great time for us to sit in community with our students and with our young people. Listening to the speakers before, I think first and foremost, we need to change our culture and the way that we view our students. And I think honestly, we need to start holding space at a much younger age than we typically as a society try to. We try to be very reactive and that we wait until our students are in high school to talk about things like civic engagement, to talk about mental health, to talk about bodily anatomy. And we don't hold space for our students to really vocalize what their needs are. I'm a mother myself, and one of the things that I've done as a parent is I've made sure that my child is a part of the conversations and not just brought in once the decisions have been made for him. So I think first and foremost, we need to really recognize the humanity of our students and recognize that, especially since COVID, our youth are facing a lot of the same issues as adults are. It's been exacerbated. We had our schools shut down for a couple of years. We were not able to engage with each other in the way that we were used to prior. And that has impacted people's mental health, especially our students. Watching my own child, students were watching their families get sick, losing multiple family members in a short amount of time, and to expect for them to bounce back and come back into schools and just be okay is absurd. My child, when he was in 5th grade, watched his classmates taking care of their younger siblings, had his teacher who was dealing with multiple deaths within a month time frame, while trying to teach at the same time. They have been exposed to so much, and they recognize the social issues that are happening outside of school. We can't pretend that these are not affecting our youth. So I think we need to really give more credit to the issues and stop minimizing what our young people are going through. And I think when our young people start to see that they're actually being listened to and that space is being held for them, then they will start to feel that sense of purpose, that value of being in school, of knowing that they're going to be cared for. And I think that's one of the places we just need to start. We need to actually listen to our young people.
Thank you. I mean, the idea of space, and the idea of, and as Don brought up, conversations with, I think that's stuck with me. I think that's really important when we talk about that. I kind of wanted to ask you a little bit more about that, actually. And I wanted to ask you, when you make your decisions, I know you're a member of school board, who do you hold space with? Who do you consult with to make your decisions?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. One of my biggest people I go to when I have to make a decision is my 12-year-old. He is in school now. I haven't been in school in decades. Like, I don't know what's up. Like, it's a completely different ball game from when I was in school. But when I do have decisions that I need to make, I do run it by him. And I do ask him questions. I ask him, what does he see in the school that he's in? What are things that would be impactful? And honestly, if I'm fucking up and just not making the right decision, honestly, you know what I mean? I'll tell you one thing that really did sit with me, especially since we're talking about missing school, is in our family, we hold space for mental health days. So like our child knows that if he is just having a day and he can't do the things, then you know what? We're going to take a day and we're just going to relax and we're going to do those things. One of the things my child did mention, and I actually did bring up in a school board meeting, was that he loves that he gets mental health days held for him. But at the same time, he's almost hesitant to take them because when he comes back, he's like, what's the point of a mental health day if I come back having to make up more work in addition to all of the work that is being done? And I was like, you know what? I never thought about that. I was like, because when I was a kid, if I missed a day, I wasn't doing nothing that I missed that day. Like, genuinely, I was that kid. But it really made me think about when our kids are missing school, whether it's for chronic illness, whether it's because their families didn't have the money for gas because everything is so expensive now, right? Are we burdening not only them, but also our teachers by expecting them to do all of the work that they've missed and making it to where it's like, well, you know what, what's the point of really going if I'm going to have this huge load that's going to weigh on me even more? And especially with COVID has created a new wave of people that are experiencing chronic illness in a way that, at least in my lifetime, we've never seen. And so we do have kids that are missing school because they're sick, their families are sick. And when you couple that with having a huge load of work to have to do when you're returning back to school, what is the incentive to come back? You know, it's going to be more of a burden. So I think we need, like I said, we need to hold space for humanity. But one of my biggest people that I go to, besides my community partners, is my child.
That's beautiful. I mean, I feel like something that we heard from all the speakers um, and something that I want to recognize in all their stories is that family is so important. People having somebody is so important. And the fact that one, you have mental health days, and at the same time too, you see where that has, become a shortcoming because of how our schools work is something that I think is really beautiful in this conversation.